I go to the doctor Monday. He'll let me know Monday if I can take this stupid thing off or not, or when we're gonna.
So
once I can get this off.
You still got the halo on there?
Yeah, it's been 3 months.
Ooh.
I am done with that thing.
Be thankful it's not them old plaster of Paris casts they used to put on.
That's some benefit, that's for sure.
Okay, we're live, and I'm going to go ahead and kick it off. We'll call the Lincolnton City Council meeting for March the 4th to order. Let's all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, if you are able. I pledge allegiance
To the flag
of
the United States of America
and to the
republic for which it stands, one nation,
under
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. You've had a chance to look at your agenda. Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda? Hearing none, then I'll entertain a motion to approve the regular agenda.
So move, Mary Frances.
Mary Frances has made the motion. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And now we'll take a roll call on that. Roby? Aye.
Aye.
Marty? Aye. Christine?
Aye.
And Mary Frances?
Aye.
Okay, we have our regular agenda approved. Now you've had a chance to look at your consent agenda items. Do I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda items?
So moved, Christine.
Motion by Christine. Any discussion? Hearing none, then we will take a roll call on that. Start with Mary Frances this time. Mary Frances, you approve the consent agenda items?
Aye. Approve.
Christine?
Approve.
Marty?
Approved.
Did Marty say?
Approved.
Oh, and Roby.
Approved.
Okay. Now we're down to the item 3, the public hearings. And I'll open up the public hearing and turn it over to Laura Elam. And the first one is ZMA-1-2021.
Okay, thank you. Mayor, it's Laura. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. This is a rezoning request involving 3.6 acres. The request is to go from R25 to the general business district. As you can see from the map, the property is surrounded by GB zoning on all sides, with the one exception of property to the west, which is zoned R25. The site is located on the south side of Clarks Creek Road, west of the intersection of Clarks Creek Road and North Aspen Street or Maiden Highway. The subject property is currently vacant. Land uses in the area include a mixture of single family and commercial. And the new Dollar General retail store is located just to the east of the site. In terms of the land use plan, this request is entirely consistent with that. The land use plan shows the property in the general business planning area. Planning board recommendation was for approval. They recommended approval of the statement of consistency and reasonableness for approval, which is on page 4 of your packet. And they also recommended approval of the rezoning of the property from R25 to GB. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions of Laura? None. Is there anyone else wishing to speak to this issue?
No one signed to speak.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Motion by Roby. Any discussion? We'll take a roll call. Start with Roby.
Approved.
Approve. Marty.
Approved.
Christine.
Approve.
and Mary Frances.
Approve.
Okay. Okay, the public hearing has been closed, and now we're down to, we need to have a statement of consistency and reasonableness. I'll entertain a motion to approve that.
I'll make a
So
motion, we approve the statement of consistency and reasonableness for approval of the application.
Okay, motion by Marty. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll do roll call on that. Mary Frances,
Approve.
Christine,
Approved.
Marty,
Approved.
and Roby.
Approved.
Okay, we only have one other thing, and that is I will entertain a motion to either approve or deny the request for rezoning.
Move to approve the rezoning. Christine.
Motion by Christine. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll do a roll call on that, and we'll start. I don't remember who we started with last time, but we'll start with Roby. Approve.
Approved.
Marty,
Approved.
Christine,
Approved.
and Mary Frances.
Approve.
Okay, so we have finished up with the first public hearing, and it has been approved. And as soon as I can turn the page, we've got, I will open up the public hearing for ZTA 1-2021 and turn it over to Laura.
Thank you, Mayor. This is our last text amendment case dealing with implementation of Chapter 160D. As you will remember from the 4 other text amendments that we've had, we are required to make these changes as per recent revisions to state statutes that enable planning in the state of North Carolina. I can go through this in detail for council, Mayor, if you would like to, but in summary, these are required changes as per state statute revisions. Happy to answer any questions. And Planning Board did recommend approval.
Are there any questions of Laura? If not, I'll entertain a motion to close. Oh, is there anyone else wishing to speak to this issue? If not, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So move, Mary Frances.
Mary Frances has made the motion. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll start with Mary Frances. You
Approve.
approve? Christine,
Approved.
Marty,
Approved.
and Roby.
Approved.
And now all we'll need is a motion to either approve or deny those changes.
I make the motion that we approve the changes.
Okay, motion by Roby, and thank gosh he didn't ask for a detailed reading of those. Any discussion? Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And I forgot I have to do the city roll call. We'll start with Roby. Approve.
Approved.
Marty,
Approved.
Christine,
Approved.
and Mary Frances.
Approve.
Okay, we're clicking right along. Now we're down to the proposed community development block grant. And I don't know who is here to speak for this. Is David there or Cliff or whoever?
Good evening. It's David.
David, the floor is yours.
This is the first of 2 required public hearings for a community development block grant. The purpose of this public hearing is to inform the public that the community development block grant program exists. And I will read briefly. The Cdbg program permits a wide range of development activities to occur, which are directed towards promoting the creation and or retention of jobs, enhancing income levels, and providing local employment opportunities, principally for persons of low and moderate income through 1, economic development, or 2, public infrastructure. Applications for CDBG assistance must show at least 60% of the CDBG funds proposed for each activity will benefit persons of low and moderate income. That is it.
Okay, any questions of David? Is there anyone else wishing to speak to this issue? If not, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved, Mayor Francis.
Mary Francis has made the motion. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll do roll call and we'll start with Roby this time. Roby,
Approved.
Marty,
Approved.
Christine,
Approve.
Mary Francis.
Approve.
Okay, now, all we'll need to do is consider a motion to either approve or deny the community development block grant.
Make a motion, we approve the grant.
Motion by Marty. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll do roll call and we'll start with Mary Francis.
Approve.
Mary Francis approved. Christine,
Approve.
Marty,
Approved.
and Roby.
Approved.
Very good. Okay. Now, so we have approved that and want to thank David for the work that he has done so far in meeting with us, answering questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
We're down to regular agenda, sidewalk dining agreement between DOT and the city of Lincolnton, and I'll turn it over to Laura Elam.
Mayor, I don't really have a prepared presentation. The reason this is on your agenda is that the DOT recently let us know that the city does not have an agreement in place with DOT to allow sidewalk dining within rights of ways that belong to the state of North Carolina. So the first step is to have council approve the draft agreement that's in your packet. And then the next step that we'll need to go through is to amend our sidewalk dining ordinance so that's entirely consistent with state statutes. There have been some recent changes. So tonight is the first step, just getting in place the basic sidewalk agreement. And then next month you will see a draft ordinance in front of you that actually makes some changes to our sidewalk dining ordinance.
Any questions of Laura? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the submitted agreement between DOT and the city of Lincolnton.
This is Marty. I make a motion, we approve the agreement.
Motion by Marty. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll do roll call. We'll start with Mary Francis,
Approve.
Christine,
Approve.
Marty,
Approved.
and Roby.
Approved.
Okay. We'll be hearing from Laura again then next month on the continuation of this. Next item is permission for the use of our city logo for marketing purposes. And I think John's somewhere out there.
Hey, how's everybody doing tonight?
Hey, John, how you doing?
Pretty well, pretty well. Do I have a way to plug something in? The logo, yeah. Perfect. Thank you very much. All right. So again, good evening, everybody. I'm actually here this evening to request permission for the use of the Lincolnton logo on our beer can labels for regional distribution of our beer that we do produce at Brick Tree Brewing Company. So I do have a couple samples for you to take a look at with some ideas that we have. And of course, this is entirely open for discussion. I understand the logo is trademarked, hence why we're here to go ahead and request a permission of its use. So the first one we have is basically our standard. This is our new label for our Baltic Porter. And of course, if you look at the lower right-hand corner, you'll see the use of the logo in the corner of that label. So that way, any of our brands that we do have will actually have the Lincolnton logo stamped on the label. And this would, of course, like I said, be distributed regionally and hopefully further over time. And will definitely raise a lot more awareness of Lincolnton, the city itself. And of course, that Brick Tree Brewing Company is here in hopes to draw a lot more people from outside of the county in particular to come to our wonderful city. So again, this is our first example. And then the second one, if any of you are aware or not, we actually produced a German Pilsner and we have called it the Lincolnton Lager. So now Lincolnton, in fact, does have its own beer. So in turn, we did come up with this idea. Of course, you know, we want to work on the font face and get some more clarity and work on the design a little bit better. But of course, this is a slight alteration of the original. But if we left the bottom portion there, it would impede on the actual beer style and of course the name itself. But again, we can always go back to the other style that I showed you the first time with the actual full logo intact in the bottom right-hand corner. But this beer, like I said, is specifically for the city of Lincolnton. And of course, to continue to, you know, raise more awareness of our city and to draw more folks here. So I just want to kind of open it up to any thoughts or questions that anybody might have. And of course, if further discussion is needed, I'm totally open for that. So are there any questions or comments?
Well, I've got a comment. I think this is a great way to attract people to come to Lincolnton, to Brick Tree, but also while they're here, I hope they'll shop and eat and visit some of our other establishments. I think it's a great way to put the city's name out there. Just my own personal preference, I prefer the near the city, near the mountains, near perfect as part when the logo's up there. But I don't think it's redundant on this particular one, but I'll certainly leave that to the design folks.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly with Marty. I think it's a good way to get the city's name out there. And I think John and Fritz have done a great job with Brick Tree. And it's something Lincolnton should be proud of.
Okay, I'm gonna be the one to, I'll put a, I've just got to ask this. I think it's a great idea too, and I like it. But you know, we're going to hear a public outcry from our churches here in Lincoln. How are we going to answer them?
My opinion, the way that we answer them is that John and Fritz came to us, asked for it, and the city council hopefully will approve it.
I agree. I think it's a great idea, but you know what we're going to hear? I mean, we got to.
I agree with Marty. This is Christine. I agree with Marty and the mayor. I think it's a great way to get other people to know about Lincolnton. I talked to a lady that was here this week, and she was here for a specific thing, and she'd never heard of Lincolnton before. So I told her I'd be glad to show her around, but this is a great way for people to get to know us better.
I think with everything that's happening on Water Street, I think that this just opens up the door even more for Lincolnton becoming a destination site.
Yeah, and also getting back to Roby's concern, I think that's legitimate, but we're not endorsing the consumption of anything. We're allowing this Lincolnton business to use our logo to promote its products. So I think it'll bring people in, and that'll help support all of our other businesses.
And from what I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, no one can use our logo unless the city council gives permission. Is that correct?
We're going to talk about this next week at our meeting because we need to just make sure that everything with the trademark is that we've dotted all the I's and crossed all the T's.
Sounds good.
Okay, hearing no other discussion, I'll entertain a motion to approve our city logo being used for marketing by Bricktree.
So moved.
So moved.
Motion by Christine. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll take a roll call. We'll start with Mary Frances this time.
Approve.
Approve. Christine.
Approve.
Marty.
Approved.
And Roby.
Approve.
Okay. Hey, John, we appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you
John.
very much.
Let's get Lincolnton's name out there as much as we can. Next item on the agenda, and we will do more discussion about the logo next week at our
Retreat.
budget meeting. Next item is budget amendment, and Mr. Haynes, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a little spring cleaning today. As you are aware, anytime we feel like we may have a department that may be overspent, by the end of the year, we try to make a budget amendment. And even though there's plenty of money in the fund, we still have to transfer from department to department. We can, within a department, we're fine on our line items, but anytime we're taking from one department and giving to another one, we have to do a budget amendment. And we have 4 of those in the general fund and 2 of those in the water fund. And I'll be glad to answer any questions you may have. This is pretty standard this time of year, and traditionally we'll come back in June as well.
Questions of Richie about the budget amendments that have been submitted? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved, Mary Frances.
Mayor Francis has made the motion. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll take a roll call, and we'll start with Mary Francis.
Approve.
Christine,
Approve.
Marty,
Approved.
and Roby.
Approve.
Okay, Richie, those budget amendments have been approved then.
Thank you, sir.
And Richie, while you're up there, let's be sure to put the logo on discussion for next Friday.
Will do. I do.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next item is discussion of request to continue discussion regarding the purchase of a new ABC store. And Tommy Husky has requested to speak before us.
Right. Thank you, Mayor, City Council. Hopefully this may be the last time you see me. Back in October, I brought up the idea that we would like to expand our West Side store to a new location or either build one. To set aside some money, I have to get the appointing committee, which is the City Council's approval to let us set aside capital improvement funds. Well, the discussion, and I think at that time, Councilman Dr. Watson said I needed to get with Steve and the finance people to see what kind of funds the city used in their budget as far as contributions from the ABC store. I did that. I met with Richie again this week. The past year and this present year, the budget handled or had contributions from the ABC store for $110,000. That was total. Spoke with Richie, and they're going to try to recommend that for again next year. So what I need to do now is see if you would allow the ABC store to make a minimum contribution to the city for their budget of $110,000 annually. It's really going to be more than that because of the way the state sets up the statutes. We have to contribute 3.5% of gross receipts and set aside for contributions. So that number will probably go up as we either build or buy or move into a new store. So I just need to take to the state that the city council is okay with a minimum contribution to the city of $110,000 for this year and for next year.
Okay, you've heard Tommy's proposal. Any questions of Tommy?
Just want to make sure that the city manager is on board.
Yeah.
Marty wanted to know if you're on board.
Yeah, and we did. We met with Tommy, and I could be wrong, but I was the understanding though that we would have to have a resolution and take action on, or do we?
No, the state told me that just an approval.
Approval. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. But I've got in the budget the 110 for next year. That's the amount that we've got budgeted.
Okay, any other questions?
Mr. Mayor, so all we're going to be voting on tonight is the contribution by the ABC board for this year and next year. Okay.
Any other questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion that the ABC board will contribute a minimum of 110 to our budget for the next 2 fiscal years.
Make that motion, Marty.
Motion by Marty. Any discussion?
Of course, if they make a whole lot of money, they can give us more, right?
Correct. I mean, we're obligated to that 3.5% of, profit. So yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the reason why I said minimum of that.
Correct. Yes.
Okay, any other questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the proposal by Tommy that ABC board will contribute a minimum of 110.
This is Marty, so moved.
Motion by Marty. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll do the roll call and we'll start with Roby this time.
Approve it.
Marty,
Approved.
Christine,
Approve.
and Mary Frances.
Approve.
Very good. Okay, Tommy.
Thank you. I think you won't see me again.
Hey, promises. Okay, next item on the agenda is approval of the chair for the Lincolnton Tourism Development. And I would like to nominate Angela Lovelace for that. Any discussion?
Who did you say, Mayor?
Angela Lovelace. And if anybody wants to make a motion so that it will be official.
I'll make that motion that we nominate Angela Lovelace.
Okay. Motion by Mary Frances. Any discussion?
No.
Hearing none, we'll do roll call on that one and we'll start with Mary Frances.
Approve.
Christine,
Approve.
Marty,
Approved.
and Roby.
Approve.
Okay. Angela Lovelace will then be the chair for the Lincolnton Tourism Development, LTDA. Next item is the manager's report and activity update. and I'll turn it over to Richie.
Thank you, Mayor. And we're going to go over the January year to date. Start with the general fund. And as you can see, I mean, compared to last year, we're actually a little over $250,000 ahead. But as I've mentioned before, you got to realize that some of that is skewed because of the loan for the fire truck. But if you look in the year before, we had a loan for a garbage truck. So, revenue has stayed strong. And as before, sales tax has stayed really strong. Just going down through there, that's one of the reasons why you've noticed in the fire department, it looks like they're way over compared to where they were last year, but 600 plus of that is the loan for the fire truck. So it does skew it one way. But if you look at the difference so far, we are 1.2 plus ahead. Compared to last year, we're 1.5, but there again, a lot of that has to do with the loan. And we did actually have less contra administration this year than what we had last year. So that does skew it a little bit as well. The water and sewer fund, we're a little over 150,000 ahead of last year. For the total, as far as revenues over expenses, we're 1.5 million plus. And last year we were only actually 5,000. But you have to look at what causes that. Last year we had to buy the meters, the smart meters. So that definitely caused that to be less. But electric fund, again, it's strong. We've got a difference of 954,000 plus. And compared that to last year, we're ahead. But we had to buy the smart meters for electric department last year as well. Overtime, we did increase, but nothing like we had the month before. I'm thinking now that looks like the COVID numbers are coming down. We'll see this number come closer together each month. Is possibility maybe by the end of the fiscal year we start to see some special events, and if so, we'll have to spend some overtime on that. In your packet, I put a housing market statistics that Cliff and Lita sent us, and this is some good information to see how we're comparing to other communities. And what I wanted to point out, if you're looking at the average sales price, 1 year change, so the average price of a house that was sold in January 2021 compared to one that was sold in January 2020, we had the second highest percentage increase. The average price was $234,116, and that was a percentage increase of 24.4. So you hear people all the time talking about how much housing costs, and it's supply and demand. But right now we are definitely seeing an increase in our housing market, and it's a good thing. That means we're in demand. But that's just good information, like I say, that Lita provides us, and just to give us an idea how we're comparing. As was mentioned, next Friday will be the budget retreat. Also is basically about the 1 year anniversary for COVID. If you remember that last year's retreat, that's kind of, it broke loose right after that. Now we'll start at 8:30, but we generally meet before that. Not going to be able to do the continental breakfast like we've done in the past. So we'll have something at your seat. Probably try to break more since we'll be wearing masks. We'll do everything here in the council chamber, and try to council hopefully will be done by 5 o'clock. Tanya and I don't know, it was a privilege, but as the mayor always says, it was bittersweet. We gave away 2 retirement plaques this past week. One to Julie Holbrooks from the Parks and Recreation Department, and one to Deborah Tunstall and the wastewater treatment plant. I will tell you, we'll be able to replace the positions, but we will not be able to replace the people. I worked with them both closely. Julie, the last 14 years, and Deborah, the last 4 or 5. Both of them exceptional, and they will be truly missed. And I also like to make an announcement on the positive side that our new finance director, Pam McBride, come to work Tuesday, and I'm so thankful. I have signed more stuff in the last 2 months than than I think I've ever signed in my life. So now we'll let Pam do that, but she's jumped in. I mean, she has gone at it, and want to thank also Steve Zickafus for coming back and helping her, showing her the ropes. But I promise you, we're going to be pleased, and I don't think we're going to miss a beat. So, but be glad to answer any questions if y'all have about the report or anything else.
Having worked with Pam with the schools, and whenever I was on the school board, Richie made a good decision.
I agree, Mayor.
Just keep on doing
it. Well, like I mentioned, and Steve did an excellent job, in the last 2 or 3 months before he left, trying to get me ready for the transition. And it just says a lot for him to be able to, to be willing to come back and to make sure that it's as seamless and as smooth as possible. And I thank him for that, because, he didn't have to do that. I did tell him, I said, is it nice? Because I always heard retirement was Saturdays and a Sunday. He said, it's awful nice. So, but we do appreciate him doing that. And we, like I say, we look forward to working with Pam, and look forward to Friday. I think we'll have a good budget retreat. And I will tell you right now, we've got balanced funds. So hopefully after Friday, we'll have balanced funds.
What kind of food are you planning? I want to get in more detail about that. What? I mean, just donuts and coffee.
Robbie, if you've got a certain biscuit request, you might want to.
I like a biscuit or two.
Okay. We might just, we'll poll everybody. I don't think, because of COVID, and being able to maintain our distance, I do think it may be better that we just leave for lunch and then come back, and that will give everybody an hour without the mask. And I'm going to try to make sure we have as many breaks as possible, because as y'all know, after about 2 hours, I mean, it's good to walk outside, take your mask off, and breathe some fresh air. So we'll try to do that as well.
Okay, any other questions of Richie? And just want to do an unofficial poll, because Richie and I were talking about this the other day. Is everybody about ready to go back to in-person meetings?
Absolutely.
For the city council?
Absolutely.
I can't wait, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, so everybody's comfortable with that. I don't want to do anything that you all aren't comfortable with.
As long as everybody's masked up, council and attendees.
Mary Francis, are you okay?
I'm around people all the time with funerals, so yeah, I'm good.
Okay. And unless something changes drastically, then next month we'll be back to some sort of normalcy. Thank you. I just wanted to ask you and get your ideas so that Daphne could send out announcements. Okay, did anybody sign up for public comment?
No one. No.
Okay. I know. Is anybody from the news media there? Okay. If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Roby. Any discussion? Remember, next Friday, start at 8:30. All those in favor of adjournment signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? We are officially adjourned.
I was going to say, bring your own biscuit.
Roby, he gonna bring you a biscuit.
I eat breakfast now.